Jak tam?
Ja, gotowy.
Super. Co tak mało?
Więc właśnie, nie, w ogóle słabo było w tym miesiącu. Jeszcze tydzień temu mieliśmy 30 osób zapisanych.
O. A dzisiaj co? 60?
Ale z tego dużo biletów rozdanych, więc nie wiadomo, czy przyjdą.
A 60 łącznie, czy z wolontariuszami też?
Chyba z wolontariuszami. Nie wiem, jak to Sasza liczyła. Tam 65 chyba.
Okay.
A z drugiej strony, biorąc pod uwagę ilość wolontariuszy, to może i lepiej nawet, czy nie ma tłumu.
Mhm. Bo co, tam nikt nie mógł?
Chyba nie wiem. Dzisiaj się dowiedziałem tak naprawdę, że mamy.
Okay. Jak coś, ja spróbuję jeszcze telefonem machnąć te zdjęcia pierwszych prelegentów.
Tam jeszcze były, ale to już się nie wczytywałem, jakieś prośby, żeby dowodowi wysłać.
No tak, właśnie, żeby na Slacku, dlatego chciałam telefonem zrobić, żeby wypchnąć, to jakbyś tam zerknął na to.
Czekaj, bo to było na 127, tak?
Ale może tym razem setup. Co?
Nie, no jest bosko.
To można robić, nie?
Z jednej strony tak, z drugiej strony rąk mi trochę brakuje. Dobra.
AI agenta potrzebujesz tutaj.
Tak, tam na samym dole było, że pierwszy i drugi speaker, bo Sasza będzie jeszcze na tym. I wysłać tutaj, dobra, no to puszczę po prostu dwa zdjęcia z telefonu. To ma być na jakieś media, czyli w Pionie?
W Pionie, tak, bo to będzie na Twittera.
Dobra.
Czyli na Exa.
Programiści, którzy zastąpili AI, tak? Wow, that's really smart. I think Twitter AI. What? Which one? Twitter AI, the problem of AI. How can you use it? It's so real. I know they
Dobra, i co ja tutaj mam?
no, it's different. Yeah, that's right. Chcesz sesję? I jeszcze jestem świetny. Nie. Oh, yeah. No, because it doesn't have the precise block. Like if you have a Apple Watch, it's constantly connected to your phone. But this one is not. Oh yes, now we are up. I mean, we're not really up. I'm just trying to stall the time, or maybe some more people will come. We having some small technical difficulties. How's everyone doing? Whoa, yeah, of course. There's been a very unfortunate streak of a very bad weather in Warsaw. I don't know if you like it or not. Who here likes when it's hot, like piping hot? One singular person likes it. Everyone else hates the hot weather, am I right? Yes, this is why we are all in Warsaw. This is the capital of the gloomy weather. So, welcome, I'm glad to have you here, and we are starting eventually, right? Yeah. What? Do you have anything to say? Hi. Okay. So, well, yeah, as I'm usually do when I'm stalling, when something is happening, let's ask the classical question. Who is here for the first time in WarsawJS? Please raise your hand. That's pretty good. So now everyone who is here not for the first time, clap for the people who are here for the first time. Thanks for coming. We are very happy to have you here. And we hope we're going to learn something new or forget something that is useless, which is also good because you only have as much free space in your brain capacity. Why am I even talking about? Are we good? Okay. Well, I feel like I'm on a stand-up. Okay. And this still doesn't work. Oh yeah! All right! Hell yeah! We are not. Yes! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. Welcome to the WarsawJS 127. And yeah, if you don't know, if you're here, as I just learned, like 4 people in this room are here for the first time. WarsawJS is a community of JavaScript professionals, enthusiasts. We gather each month on, usually it's the first Wednesday of the month, which is, I'm not sure today is, second Wednesday, of course it's second Wednesday, 11th or something. Great. So we talk about JavaScript and not just that, all the things around JavaScript running on computers, TV sets, cars, rockets, all good stuff. WarsawJS is not just the meetup itself because there's more. We have a conference that's going to happen eventually. We have workshops. There's blog, which you can, by the way, contribute to. And if you have your, standalone blog, as every person should maintain your personal brand and ownership of your content, right? Sorry. Then we can sort of do. We can shout you out, right? Just let us know if you want to promote something through us, and it's going to be fun, right? We have master classes. Which is for sort of more people willing to learn under the supervision of more senior engineers. We can do photo sessions, and of course there's the Cursor AI Jam, which is slightly under the screen. I cannot read everything, but every month. 2 whole times per month, we gather together to vibe code, which is a crazy thing to do. I have never met a person who vibe coded anything useful. Sorry. Anyway, we have vibe coding specialists, and 2 times per month. I'm going to talk about this later. Anyway, and the Slack, of course. If you want to stay up to date on everything we do, please join the Slack. There's going to be a link somewhere in there. Anyway, what do we do? So what we want to do is to just support you in your professional journey, no matter where you come from, what do you do, what's the color of your skin, where you're coming from, what language do you speak? Well, it's usually that you have to at least speak a little bit of English to communicate with us, but that's fine too. It is for everyone. WarsawJS is for everyone, and anyone here, of course, most people have heard of Berlin Code of Conduct, right? Basically, summing up, don't be a bad person. Right? Be a nice person to everyone, and everyone's going to be happy, right? This is how we can conduct our meetings. This is me. Okay, slides are really wonky now. I'm not sure how to. Well, as it turns out, the further we go down the slide, the more they drift apart, which is fine. We're gonna stop seeing the bottom of the slides eventually. So this is me, and we have our main team, amazing team of duo and Satwa. Can you fix that? No, it's fine. All right, of course, it's Persia and Alexandra Michalkowska. I'm sorry. Can you clap a little bit for those people? They run everything here, responsible, all the headaches, all of that stuff, all the good stuff. It's all because of them. But also, of course, oh no, you can see the bottom of their hands. Right. And we have our amazing volunteers here, which some of them are here today, some of them are not. They come and go on a monthly basis, but WarsawJS would have never happened without our volunteers. Are you going to fix this? Yeah, of course. So again, while stuff is getting fixed, can you please clap for our amazing volunteers once again? Thank you. It's really, when I'm sitting over there, it's always so, it feels so forced when the guy or the person on stage says like, hey, please clap again. I really hate it. But yeah, now I'm that person. All good? Oh, thank you, but you didn't need to do that, but you did it. Anyway, right, now, so we want more volunteers, as always. So being a volunteer is something that is, if you're a student, if you're just someone who cannot afford going to conferences, meetups, and something like that, not all of them are free, some of them are free, some of them are not. But in general, it could be a nice way, a ticket to meet new people, maybe find the next job opportunity, just talk to it gives you access to things behind the scenes. I love that. Right, if you want to be a volunteer, please scan the QR code. Maybe we'll see you maybe you'll help us out. Maybe we'll help you out on one of our next events. Right, and most importantly, WarsawJS now it would make no sense to have meetups with no talks, so please pull out your phones. If you're thinking, if you're on the edge of going or submitting your talk, please scan this QR code right here and submit your talk for next WarsawJS. Okay, yeah, I see no one's scanning. I just got to advance the slides. All right. Yeah, just let me know if you want to scan it later. And of course, the cursor AI Jam is going to be on the June 21st. You're going to vibe code. If you like vibe coding, you want to vibe code together, scan the QR code. Now you're scanning. I see. So you don't want to submit talks and you want to vibe code. Okay. Right. Our sponsors, Dialo and Xfang. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for providing us with. Yes! I don't even have to say it in this class. I love it. Thank you so much. You are such a fantastic audience. Right. And of course, thank you so much, Google Campus for Startups and Google itself. Thanks for having us here and letting us see some of those stories. Yes. All right. And we have KMag and JetBrains as sponsors. I said, well, yeah, of course, partners. That's what I meant. And as always, naturally, after every single speaker today, you'll be able to ask questions. And the best question after each speaker is going to receive 1 year JetBrains license, which is to any product of your choice, any of the IDs they have, which is pretty cool. Great. And today we have a nice lineup of Gonzalo Bedinga, Kacper Zawojski, and Tomasz, please. Really nice lineup. I'm actually looking forward to quite a few of those talks, right? And we have a lightning talk by Krzysztof Muszyński about unlocking the brain power, self-knowledge, right? Well, sorry. You look very serious like you're about to kill me. I'm sorry. All right. No, I know. I know you're a very good person. It just goes downhill from here. Sorry.
solving the duplicate React problem that we will discuss shortly. But let's compare how module federation stands against a more traditional approach of sharing code maybe through NPM packages. With NPM packages, integration happens at build time. You update a library, you publish it, and then the consuming application needs to bump it, build, and deploy. Module federation flips this on its head with runtime integration, right? The consuming application can immediately benefit from updates in the remote module without needing to rebuild or redeploy at all. Module federation gives you hot swappable parts that can be updated independently. This difference was crucial for our migration strategy. Let's take a look at very high level how the architecture for this is set up at Boxes. On the left, you will see our version service. Each host application can get the version of each of the remote module it needs with a single request. This allows us to release 2 or more micro frontends and its host at the same time. All host applications and remote modules fetch their assets from a CDN backed by cloud storage like Google Cloud Storage, now that we're in Google, or Amazon S3 or anything of the likes. After the host application knows which version of itself and its remotes to load, it requests these assets to the CDN using a versioned manifest. If the host application needs, for example, to render a component in the sign remote module, the import statement will resolve in a fetch that goes to the CDN, remote module files will be loaded, and we can use the component just like any other one, pass prop to it. I'm also showing the fact that there's another host application in the diagram. They are very similar. I just wanted to highlight the fact that some remote modules are used in more than one host application, which will be relevant later. Some others, like AI Studio, might just be used in one. With that little primer on module federation and overview, we're going to get closer to the real challenge of the project. Module federation itself supports multiple React versions being loaded through something called share scopes, but this forces you to make a decision. Should we have 10 or 20 different React versions running potentially at the same time? The trade-off is between speed and encapsulation in a way. We went for speed, both in runtime and in software development. Only one version of React is loaded, asset size is smaller versus 10, potentially 20 different versions. You also compose different micro frontends just by passing props and optimize for this decomposition and independence of teams. On the other side of the trade-off, there's encapsulation. Each team could decide which version to use of React or any other shared library, and if it can be shared through the share scope, maybe it will. But this still makes you think twice about the boundaries between modules and the interfaces they expose. In many cases, you cannot just pass hooks or other React concepts as props, because if they're executed in different versions, it just might not work. By favoring encapsulation, you can also optimize for standalone applications that share less and are independent of their host. With our choice of singleton React instance and version, we optimize for day-to-day operations and speed, but still every couple of years, we still need to upgrade our React versions. This is the crux of the problem. How do we upgrade in this singleton model? We decided to go for a single-shot migration. Given how much we share across module federation boundaries, we just couldn't mix React 17 and 18 in a reasonable amount of time. To do so, we would have to invest a lot in the coupling, and it did not make big business sense at the time. Single shot does not mean we merge and release everything in one day. It took careful preparation, prioritization, and coordination across multiple teams over 9 months. Our upgrade journey began with a detailed request for comments documents, or RFC, pretty popular in the industry. This document was our North Star throughout the process. We detailed the technical approach, explaining how exactly we would use module federation to coordinate the updates across all of our micro frontends. We outlined risks and mitigations, acknowledging what could go wrong and how we would respond. We covered the quality aspect, ensuring we have the right checks in place at the right time, in the right environments. And we established a timeline with clear milestones and clear accountability. Who do we expect to do what and when? Most importantly, we created a rollback strategy in case things went sideways. This RFC wasn't just a technical document, it was a communication tool that aligned everyone, from engineers to executives. Speaking of executives, securing their sponsorship was crucial. This wasn't just a technical update, it was a significant investment of engineering resources. We needed dedicated time from some of our best engineers across multiple teams. We framed the migration or the upgrade as an investment in our technical foundation. By upgrading to React 18, we would unlock performance improvements and new capabilities that would accelerate feature development in the future. It would also unlock native optimizations like automatic batching, concurrent rendering, and also provide better third library support for things like suspense. With sponsorship secured, our first technical step was updating our component libraries. We maintain several internal component libraries and also one open source one, which is external facing. All of these are used as regular NPM packages. They're versioned, decided at build time. All of this needed to be compatible with React 17 and 18 during the transition period. This foundation work was perhaps the most critical phase. If our shared components did not work properly, nothing else would either. It was also our first step in this initiative. We needed to kick off with a win, both from a technical perspective and a team collaboration one. Planning the actual micro frontend upgrade was like planning a military operation. We created detailed sequence diagrams showing which applications to be updated when and by whom. We established weekly stand-ups where teams would report progress and flag any blockers. And we created a single yet simple document outlining our overall progress towards the end of the upgrade. We all collaborated in a single Slack channel, building in public, sharing common problems, helping each other out to unblock builds across European and American time zones. Up until this point, most of the progress was more or less straightforward. Of course, each team faced a lot of challenges within their own code base and domain, library upgrades with breaking changes, React 18, concurrent rendering, breaking flows. Some unique applications that have more libraries than React for the view layer, like Vue.js or Ember due to historical reasons. But deciding when to release and preparing for it was a challenge on itself. It was literally D-Day, and we needed to do it twice, once per host application. There were 4 angles we needed to cover to decide the timing on the release. First of all, we are a pretty large organization, so at any given time, there's a lot of initiatives going on. We were in the process of revamping our front-end release process, the version service I showed you in the high-level architecture. That meant we had 2 competing ways to release a micro front-end and a host application, which were not compatible with each other. We planned for it, but it still introduced unforeseen complexity and risk. There was also a major product launch that involved a lot of the teams in the organization planned for early 2025. Upgrading close to that date was risky for both projects. It also meant that the involved teams had less capacity to help with the upgrade, as the product launch had very high business strategic value, let's call it. The holiday season was also starting. This was the end of the year, so that included Thanksgiving in the US, but also end of the year globally. A lot of people involved already had their holidays, their well-deserved PTO plan. So lastly, it's a very sensible period of the year to make changes at Box. Our products are mission critical our customers need us to be up and running to run their own business. For those reasons, end of the months are tricky, end of quarters are tricky, and end of the years are also tricky. When all comes together, it brews kind of the perfect storm. We found the week, but it was the only available one that fit all of the challenges from the previous slide. If we did not make it that week, we would have to wait probably multiple months before we were given another chance. The plan was the following. We merge our 20 micro-frontend code across all of the repositories together within a single day. From there, we have 2 weeks to test in our lower environments and deploy a passing version of each of these micro-frontends to production. Deploy, but not release. Remember from the high-level architecture, these are luckily and in reality by design, 2 very different processes. This allows us to run some tests in production before releasing and showing this code to our customers. We needed to upgrade 2 host applications, and given some micro-frontends are present in both, they needed to be done close to each other to prevent drifting usages of React versions. But also not too close to one another to increase the risk of introducing an issue into very critical applications. We were going to upgrade first thing in the European morning. US traffic is low, Asian traffic is not so high anymore, and this gives the European team a whole day to monitor and then hand over to the American team. The first release day arrived. Everything we've been working towards was reaching its destiny. I woke up early and started by ingesting large amounts of coffee. That's me. The first step was checking that all the version assets were available in production and were ready to be released. Then I kicked off our pre-release testing automation. The next step was joining something we call the bridge. The bridge, very fancy name, is used for high-risk or unusual changes we perform. There are network and support engineers ready to act if anything goes wrong. Other key members of the React upgrade also joined it to help and be present, monitoring. Before starting the rollout, I remembered to drink some water. Today I forgot, but that's okay. As we start the rollout, we essentially have 2 version sets that are running in production. One with all the micro-frontends and a host application in React 17, another all micro-frontends and host application in React 18. We increment the rollout to 1%, to 5%, to 10%, 15%, until we reach 100. During all of these increments, we checked our high-level monitoring and each team's observability dashboards. After we reach 100, we ran our post-release test automation and continued to monitor during the day. We waited 1 week and did it all over again for the other host application. As Martin Klebman says, in distributed systems, suspicion, pessimism, and paranoia pay off. We were prepared and we were able to pull it off twice in 1 week. Before wrapping up, I want to leave you with some learnings about the project. The first hard choice we needed to make was when to invest a large amount of resources. Single-shot migrations require a lot of coordination, yes, but decoupling to allow independence also requires investment. We might find a better balance between the two now that Module Federation v2 is out and has, let's say, better strategies for the sharing of libraries. The second learning is to think about the things you usually don't think about. Follow me here. There are some features that are there, some code that is there, and that just works, not updated very often. This older code we usually forget about, but still needs to be covered with testing, observability to ensure we don't break anything. The third learning might be a tough pill to swallow in a JavaScript meetup, but I will still say it. Standards do pay off. The best tool for the job is the one that will give you less headaches in the long run. If we had to upgrade React, but we also had a jungle of routing libraries, state management, build tools, testing tools, observability stack, all the concerns we need to cover, the effort would have been immense. And to make matter worse, all teams would have to figure it out by themselves. No opportunity for knowledge sharing or common blockers. The fourth learning is to over-communicate. Assume at least one person won't join the meeting or won't read the email or won't see the message you sent. Reiterate, say things multiple times in multiple forums. The last one is to focus on the fundamentals that make your apps work together. We don't release multiple micro frontends at the same time. We don't change module federation configuration often. So make sure people understand how things work, as this is not day-to-day operations. That's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I believe I'm just in time, so we will have time for some questions, right? Thanks, Piotr,
Perfect
for
timing.
the water.
Absolutely perfect timing. So, dude, I really love module federation. Fun fact, once I cooked Belgian waffles with the guy who made module federation. But
Zach
that's,
Jackson.
yeah, hi, Zach. If you're
Hi,
watching.
Zach. Thank you for creating Module Federation.
Yeah.
Hi, Zach.
Anyway, so who here has a question? Raise your hand, please. That over there.
Wow.
Speak into the cube. Doesn't work? Are you sure?
No.
Oh,
Say,
off you
hey,
go.
Google.
Once again.
Hey, Google.
Hey, Google. Oh. Cool. Great talk. Thanks a lot. Really interesting, and congrats with the successful release. Yeah, just a quick question. In the beginning, you mentioned that you didn't want to go for like gradual migration, having couple versions of React running simultaneously. I mean, when you've considered this, what was the real price that the end user would pay? Like if they would see, I don't know, like 5 of 10 micro frontends in React 18 and the other 5 in React 19. I mean, it's just a couple of megs, or maybe I'm a little bit off with the front-end federation.
No, you have a valid point. I think our decision to not do it gradually was not, such a tragedy to have several versions in the bundle. We could afford that during a transition period. The main challenge for us was that because of how many things we share across federation boundaries, we pass hooks, we pass several things. We just couldn't make 17 and 18 work in some of these boundaries, not all. So we would have to decouple them. It would have been a separate investment, kind of like a pre-investment. So I would say, would have been worth it? Maybe yes, but I believe it would have been a tougher pill to swallow for people wanting to back this initiative. Oh, we even have a prerequisite and then we'll start the migration. So for this one, we said, we'll do single shot. We know we don't want to do this for the next one. Hopefully we won't do it that way in the next one, but it was more like, let's try this way. In the past, that's how we've done it without module federation. So a single Webpack bundle was single shot. Let's now do it single shot with ModFed, React 19, who knows?
Cool, thank you.
Hey, thank you for your talk, pretty interesting. Just question about this version service. As I understand, was a key component that led you to release it, and that more important to test on release version on prod before. Is it something that you created or something that you used and customized?
I don't think I can disclose all of it, but it's not a very complex service. The service just tells you in a particular environment, let's say one host application, let's call it application A, inside has 20 modules. What's the version of application A? 1, 2, 3, and the 20 modules, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? Why it was critical for the migration? For two things. First, we had competing version services because we were migrating one to another, but it doesn't matter. The overarching design was still of the same level of simplicity. The reason why it was key was that we could release the version set as one single change. So if you are a user, you are either fully in React 17 or fully in React 18. Whereas maybe if we had a version service for one microfrontend, a different for another, how do you coordinate that this version is React 18, this one too, and this one too? They would have to maybe the version service align. Being a single thing, it make that transition easy. But the version service itself, think about it like a key value storage, saying module, version, with the ability to say, I want this change to be exposed to 1% of customers, 2, 3, 10, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, that's pretty much version service for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we are just fresh out of time
Cool.
for questions, unless it's a very, very quick one.
Just to be good.
Okay, I will be quick. So thanks for the talk. It was really entertaining, but I was wondering if you, because it sounds like a pretty ideal scenario, and I was wondering if your team had any like issues, challenges, or even fuck-ups.
I think all of the challenges we had, luckily, I would say, caught them on time. There was a particular challenge of some old piece of code that we caught a little bit too late, but we were able to resolve and, let's say, not raise any alarms. I would say the key challenges and learnings were around the coordination and making sure that all teams can produce a version, let's say, together, because if we have 19 microfrontends, but one is missing, given the single shot nature of the approach, well, we still cannot do it. So we need to ask that team, hey, would you please put it in this sprint? Sometimes we even went ourselves and helped out. One of the biggest lifts, I would say, was not, I mean, some flows did break, we catched it, we fixed them, but there was a lot to change in unit tests. Unit tests took like 70, 80% of the efforts because things change. We had some old libraries there, so we also took the opportunity to refresh them. But that meant we needed to rewrite or fix thousands of unit tests. So, which is not what you want to focus in something of this magnitude. You want to be focusing on, does production work? Does our live environment work? Not maybe the unit tests. I mean, the unit tests should pass. They are our quality gate. But yeah, unit tests were big investment.
Thank you. I was just, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
You had one? No.
Thank you so much. I was just hoping you'll just say yes, and that's it.
Ah,
But no,
yes.
you just carry on. It's all right. It's all right. We'll just steal time from other speakers. It's all right.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. And with that in mind, we give a nice hand to Gonzalo, but also we are welcoming Kacper on stage. Yay! So while you need, I assume, a couple of minutes, seconds to catch up. So Kacper here, I think 3 or 4 meetups ago, he was just sitting in the first row, and I was just looking, was just demonstrating like a scan this QR code or something. And he just, from the first row, he just said, oh, actually, like this is how QR code is made, and this is something. And I just said, Kacper, come on stage, and he started literally just explaining how QR codes work outside of talks. I was at the end of the meetup. And now I told him, please come and do an actual talk about this. So here it is. And please welcome.
It works.
Kacper
Yeah,
Zawoyski.
it works. Hi. It's very nice to speak here. It's my first speech. And normally I do a speech on the daily about the technical stuff, but here is more people than on daily. Nice. Okay. So maybe we can start now. Let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. First thing, nice. So who I am? I'm full stack software engineer at Wave. On my free time, I'm moving from the websites, e-commerce, and blogs from old CMSs to payload CMS. I also own a 3D print farm, and I'm pioneer of the new movement against the vibe coding. It's called Craft Coder. craft coding. It's funny because I run the course on Gem session also, but I go to the two fronts. Oh yeah. Okay, I should stand here because I always forgot about that. Thank you. Yeah, I do not forget. Yes, and as the presentation is about QR code, there is a first QR code. This QR code provides you to the Slido, and here you can ask a questions because if you are shy, and also on the end there is a quiz. And if someone win, for sure someone will win. For the winner, there is a small stuff. It's a Dino from Google when you don't have the Wi-Fi or the internet. So I hope it find the new owner. Okay, let's start. So today I will try to show you how the QR code is built, not the scanner way, but the build process from the word which we want to encode, show, and allow to scan for the scanners. So to make the presentation more easy to understand, our word will be JS. So creative. So first step is data analysis. Here, we have to choose what type of our data in the QR code will be. So we have the numeric type. We can choose the byte type, alphanumeric, and kanji. In the numeric, there are digits from 0 to 9. In alphanumeric, there are digits from 0 to 9, uppercase letters A to Z, and symbols. And that's all symbols because there is a special table where all available characters are, and they have special number, which will be important later. Then we have normal byte mode. Here we have ISO characters and UTF-8. And on the end, there is a Japanese character in kanji mode. As we have just word JS, we will save it in alphanumeric. Then QR codes have something like error correction level. This is more interesting. Here we have to choose how much data we want to recover when the QR code is scratched or missed, or when you run with your phone and try to scan the QR code because you want to go to the metro, to subway, and it's still able to scan it. And everything is thanks to error corrections codes, which will be later, but now we have 4 levels of them. And here is how much data we can still recover based on the level which we choose. Of course, higher version, cut some data which you can save into actually the data matrix, the QR code. So for our case, we have just JS word. We can be with the age level. Then we have to choose the version of QR code. So the version, it means the size and how much data we can save into QR code. Version goes from version 1 to version 30. In version 1, we can save up to 25 characters in alphanumeric mode. In byte mode, that's just 17. And all is in the error correction level L. So even when we have the age, we can save less data. And in version 40, we can save up to 7,000 characters in numeric mode and on the other modes. Yes, so for our purpose, there is version 1 more than enough. So wrap up, we know that we have JS word. We know that our data type is alphanumeric. Our version of QR code is 1, and the error correction level is age. Nice. Now we have to encode our data because, as you maybe mentioned, as you maybe know, the data inside the QR code is a bit string, so there is zeros and ones only, where 0 means white space, 1 means black space. So before we start actually encode the data, we have to add something called mode indicator. We also have to add character count indicator. Then we encode the data. And on the end, we add the code words and paths. But firstly, what's a mode indicator? So here we add at the beginning of our bit string, we have to add the code which say what type of QR code it is, like what type of data it is. In our case is 00010. Then we provide the character count indicator, and it's most complex because here that depends on the version of QR code. And here I prepare example of Hello World. So in Hello World, for example, we choose version 1, and we have here alphanumeric. I don't know why, but let's say, oh yeah, alphanumeric because there are words. Yeah, and in version 9, our bit string has 9 bits length, and we have to in byte mode provide the number. So here is 11. And in our case, when we have just 2 words, there is in byte mode our information, and this is our character code indicator. Now we are finally able to encode the data. So encoding is different for each type. In numeric mode, we group our digits in 3 length groups. Then we convert them to the number, and from decimal, we put them into byte mode. But also, every of it has 10 bits. For our alphanumeric mode, which is our mode, here we take the whole formula, whole text. We split it to two pairs, and each pair has 11 bits length. And here's the formula. We take the first letter, and we can take the number from the table which I said before. Then we multiply it by 45, and we add the second letter, and we got the number, and we convert the number decimal to byte mode. In our case, it's this. And also there is a different for byte mode, and there is also for kanji mode. So there are different approaches. And now we have something called code words and paths. So basically in the QR code, you cannot have some space not fill it. So the code QR have to be full fill in. And for that, we have 3 things. We have terminator, path, and remaining space paths. So terminator is used to fill in the QR code when they're just left like 2 spaces, 1 space, or 3 spaces. But in our case, when we have just JS word and there is still a lot of space, we will add 4 of them. Okay, maybe that will be better. So here is the terminator. Then we have something like path strings. Here it is. So we use these paths, the additional block of zeros, to make sure that our data string is divisible by 8. If it is not, we have to add as much as is needed. And on the end, we add something called remaining space paths. And we do it in rotation way. So first we add the first path, second first, second first, second first, until we fill in the remaining space. And this is our data, actually how it looks like after the encoding process. Nice. So wrap up. So I don't have to do wrap up, but for everyone. And now what is still missing? So our error correction codes. So here it will be very simple, the process of that, because it's more complex, and behind of that there is deep math. But for this presentation, just simple steps. First, we have our message, which is JS. Then we create the polynomial, and here is the driving session. And for example, we have such a function, and I know that 0 is not here, but for the presentation, I will put it here. And we have word S, and yes, and based on these 2 values, we create a polynomial. Then we give extra symbols, extra values. So one will be here, M, and one will be here, it's K. Great. And then we, okay. Yes, and then we have the code word JMSK. But how actually it works? Let's say we miss the S value from the query code. The scanner is not able to scan it. And now, thanks that we have additional values, additional characters, now the scanner could recreate this polynomial and put the value again on this function. And thanks to that, the function is recreated. It can again read the values. Okay. I would say, like, I want to say it. So under the hood, there is the Fourier equation, and there is Gauss fields, which works at that. And if someone is here a math geek, they could think that there is a Lagrange interpolation, but it works in different way. But it's very, very similar. Yeah. So now we have our blocks of data. We know how the process of error correction code creating works. So now is the time to extract the final message. But structuring the final message is also not that simple as we can think. Firstly, we create block division. And block division depends on the version of query code, but the simple meaning is that we take our message, which is say data, and we split it to the blocks. Then we create the error correction codes, but we create them for blocks, not for whole data. So we got the block first, and we create error correction first. Then we have block second, and create second error correction codes, and as far. And then no. So now there is a last step. We put everything together. Yes, and also it's not that way how we create error correction codes. We have to again put them in correct order. So we put firstly data, and then we put the error correction codes. And now there is a little image, but please don't read everything here. Just focus on this space. So as I said before, here we have the information about the data and the character length. Then we put our words and actually data. And on the end, we put the error correction codes. And now I create a little app here to show you nice patterns, modules, and how data is placed. There are not. Okay, I will be back there. Don't worry. It's on the production, so let's hope that it don't break and there is no tests. Yeah, but make it bigger. Yeah, there is a blank query code. So this is my favorite part of the presentation. Firstly, we'll put the pattern, which is a finder pattern. And this is on every query code, and it helps a scanner to know in what orientation the query code is. Then we are adding something called timing pattern. And it's also on every code query. And it helps scanner to actually calculate what the size of query code is, because version information, which we actually add to the query code, and we will add it, it's not on all query codes. And if you have a small one, like our one, it's version 1, it has only these timing patterns. And based on that, the query code know how big it is. And actually, it know how the pixel is big. So yeah, there's a lot of thing behind this pattern. We have version information, format information here. So in these 3 places, so here I think is the type, there is the information about error correction level, and on that corner I have this thing here. On this place there is both of these values. Now we add the version information, and it is here because this query code is in version 10. So, but in the lowest ones there wouldn't be here, but there is information about the version. Yeah. And now we add something called align patterns. And the goal of this pattern is to make scanner able to read QR code from the engine. So if you are, in the funny place and you scan it from there, it will help scanner to read it. And now there is a last tiny guy, which is here, is the dark module. And this dark module allows scanner to understand if the QR code structure is well read. Because if it, this is how it works. And I don't actually know how it will work if you will mess this point. I think the scanner can go crazy. So if you want to, destroy QR code, but you don't want to make it replace it, it just displays. And probably it will be like the small scanners can have the problem. And if you run and this QR code is from far away from you, the scanner could have problem with scan it. Yeah. And now let's place our data, because we have all patterns, we have all modules. This is all what it is. This is funny because it's every QR code it has, everyone. Yes, and now I will place the sample of how data is placed. It's go like zigzag. In this way is put it. So let's add the real data. Oh, it goes. Yes. Can someone scan if it works? Here should be hi word. No, there is no JS. There is no JS. There is hi. It's like, no, this is production. I don't. It works. Maybe because of color. Okay. Okay. Maybe this one really works. Yeah. Okay. The colors was the problem. Yes. Okay. Do we have something like I want to try if we can remove this guy and check if it's still possible to read it. Okay, but to read. Oh, on the MacBook. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Yeah. Okay. So let's try. From this one? No, we have to. Yeah. Maybe I would. Oh, yeah. Or you can click the switch here. So give me a second. Maybe we can click this to make it red. Oh. Let's try. Works? Oh, because we have good scanner. That's all. That's. Oh. Okay, but it shouldn't. So you have good scanners. Okay. Yeah. Well, but that's how the QR code patterns looks. Yeah. But as you may think, it's end, but it's not end. There is one last topic. There is data masking. The goal of data masking is to make sure that there are any patterns that shouldn't be there. So like you see the timing pattern there, just the dots, white, black. It can happen when you put the data. So the masking is for this, is created for this. The masking works as a XOR operation. The XOR operation is like you get the original data, you have the mask, and if you have two same values, you got O. If you have two different, you get 1. There is 8 masks, which the QR code standard have. And you apply all of them to your QR code, and then you calculate the penalty. So there is also something, it's called penalty rules. There are 4 rules, which you have to, maybe you don't have to, you can always apply the first one, but this is, in the documentation, they say, oh, use all these 4 rules and that will be fine. But, I also do this, like I put the first mask and, let's go. But here it go. So first penalty is go if there is a penalize the presence of 2x2 blocks of the same color. Sorry, I read the next penalty rule. Penalize long sequences of the same color. So if you have 5 color in the row of the same color, you get 3 points and additional 1 for each next. And now you penalize the presence of two blocks of the same color, and you get extra 3 points. And as I don't mention, but if some mask got the have the less points, it's win. Yeah. Because if you have more, you are worse. Yeah, and now, if there is any pattern that is like a module, so like timing module, like the finder pattern, like the others, you get extra 40 points. So this is like you lose. And now there is last one, and it's just calculate the balance of white and black and dark modules. And it's, but if there is the good balance, it got 0 points. If there is a worse balance, it's got 7 points. Yeah, and that's all, but not all, because you should scan the Slido. Is someone who wasn't able to scan it? I will back to Slido, because there was a place to ask a question, and there will be a quiz, and there is a nice Dino for the winner. Okay. Oh, where it is? Okay, and so firstly we do a Q&A, or first we do the quiz? Okay, so let's do a quiz.
What's stopping us from making three-dimensional code?
Okay. Everyone scan? Everyone maybe is trying to scan? Okay, I opened the session, so now you can join and place your name. That will help us to. Yeah, okay, that's good. If for someone it didn't work, I can open in the white space zone and.
No, it's fine.
It works. Okay. Not for everyone. Okay, so 1 second. Okay.
That was not the red pointer.
Yeah. Maybe I add here. Oh yeah, you see? Oh no, there is a black dark module. Okay, so don't worry. Yeah, I will add here the better QR code. Or not. No, there are just there is the dashboard.
Okay, is there anyone who has not yet scanned but wants to scan a QR code? Just raise your hand.
Oh.
Or we can just proceed. Oh, perfect.
So this is actually interesting, because if someone wasn't able to scan this, it's because the white zone there, and in the new standard, there is no require to be the white space after the QR code and on the all corners, on the walls. And if there is new scanner, that is able to scan it. If there was an old scanner, it couldn't. So yeah, but. Okay, there are still someone who joined. Okay, do we still waiting for someone, or there are all of us?
27, let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so first question.
Not 127, but.
Oh, okay. There was one slide about that, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This one should be easy. Okay, there is no. I will see who. Patrick, I hope you will answer correct.
Nie słuchałam, nie słuchałam.
Customer needs to understand that if something is easy for you, it doesn't mean that for others it is also.
I'm sorry.
Oh my.
And last one. Okay, sorry. Okay. So who? The dino going to you. Thank you.
Congrats.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2. Oops.
There are some questions in
Yeah.
here.
So you wanna respond to some of them, I guess, and you can also pick your favorite one at the end.
Okay, yeah, I see there is one. Oh, it's from Piotr. It's from you.
No, Piotr Walker, this one.
Okay, that's a very interesting question. If okay, I maybe put it there. Okay, if barcodes are one dimension, QR codes are 2 dimension, what's stopping us from making 3-dimension codes? Imagination, I think. I don't know, maybe there exists something, but I think that could be hard for scanner. But if you will go to the 4th dimension, you are able to see the 3D dimension code from all sides. So yeah, in the 1st dimension, it will be possible. Oscar asks, what about company logo inside QR code? How does that work? It uses the error correction levels. So just miss the data, and that's all. Or there are some standards, but for that you have to have your own scanner, and there are some bit matrix, the old one, which are now on the Orlen Paczka, if someone use it. There is a funny QR code which have the one corner full of black, and the rest of the space is like white and black. They're like QR code, but there is no align patterns and no this stuff. So yeah, I forgot what was my point, but yeah, I talked something about those. And last one, why mode takes 4 bits while it could be take only 2 on 2? I don't understand. Ah. Okay, I understand. That was there was okay. I remember. What was that? Mode indicator. Oh, there is. Oh, this one. Yeah, the right one. Oh, here. That's. I think this is for the QR codes. I think so. That's a good question. I don't know. Sorry, really, I don't know why is that. But that's a very good question. I think it's that because there is ones on the. That's very good. I will check it out. Maybe. Like I know that I remember why I talked about the bit matrix, but yeah, so companies can create own scanners because it's like this is open source set and you can create this QR code as you want. So maybe there is a space for making scanners to understand that this mode is mode from the company. Maybe that's why. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think we are okay. Here's the question. Do you want to have him answer more questions, which is very nice, or you want to have pizza faster?
Oh, well, that's not fair.
I understand. I understand. This is not fair. But we are in a democracy here, sort of thing. So
no. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. It's like
no. Do you want? If it's really fast, you can do it, right? Like a speed run.
The question?
No, if you want to. If you want to, yeah.
I think we can ask someone. No, people won't.
There are some questions of this.
There are
too,
some
right?
questions.
So you have 10 seconds per question. Let's go.
Do you create the slide QR code yourself? The slides? No, the slides I made with the slides.com, but yes. Sorry? No.
Next one.
Why are we alive? Oh no, that's type of question. Because someone have to create a beer. What was the weirdest thing that you encode? Oh yeah, I know. When I was on the university, there was
Next one. No time. Sorry, we are speed running here. 10 seconds.
Yeah. But funny that I was forced to encode in which group I am. So yeah, that was the first test. So for the first question in the exam, choose your group, and if you choose wrong one, you'll don't pass. Yeah, funny thing.
Okay, that was pretty good. Anyway, so please give a big hand to Kasper.
Thank you.
That was amazing, man. That was your first talk. That's incredible. Anyway, most importantly, well, there's something you need for something else. Okay. Oh, go ahead. Okay, Per wants to make an announcement.
So my question to you is, can you open Slack for a moment and see the last thing? Because, it was an absolutely amazing talk. And I thought that I can, imagine this. Who feels inferior to machines? No one of you. So maybe we should use better compression than letters. This is a book not composed by letters, but composed by QR codes for Kasper.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you, Dr.
Kasper, because this is what I imagined, that we all can understand and read QR codes. So can you imagine what's the bandwidth here?
But
the bandwidth,
What I can see now, this is actually the smallest QR code because there is no align pattern. So there is version 1, and I know this one are bigger, but because there is a line pattern. So that's all I know.
You could actually understand more just by diving deeper, thanks to Kasper. So I think that this is something that we could think of, because everyone says now, I don't want to listen to the video, to watch the video. I'd rather see the transcript of the video, but the transcript is still composed of letters, so something very low bandwidth. So maybe we can understand. But it's funny, isn't it? We can understand more just by understanding his QR codes. So, my God, thank you very much, Kasper.
Thank you.
Applause for Kasper.
Yeah. I wish this is my daily, and you are my PMs, and you applause for me, and yeah, good job, Kasper. Nice.
Amazing.
Production is on fire. Good.
No.
Yeah.
I wanted to show.
Okay.
I wanted to show you something.
What I should do with that?
Who has LinkedIn here? Who has LinkedIn?
I can still
Okay,
speak.
only one person. No, really, please. Really? You don't use LinkedIn? Okay, so now it explains everything, because I was thinking, we have over 60 people on the event, but only 10 subscribed to the event, but it's just because you don't have LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking, Gentara, maybe show the QR code for the people who arrived and they did not subscribe to the event, just for showing to the sponsors that we didn't have 12 people on the event, but there were more. Okay, if you can't do it, please, because we can't really prove that the event was really here. And it's about shit. Sorry, it's not a QR code. No, wait. How to show it? Can you? Yes. Yeah, we need to escape it. It's not a real QR. It's your computer. It's not my keyboard. I just want to show this QR code on. Pizza in 2010. Thank you. So here is the LinkedIn event on which 10 people subscribed, and Xfang tells me, "Oh, we're sponsoring an event where there are 10 people." Come on, don't do this event. So thanks very much for subscribing, and
Wow. All right. I cannot believe we had this many problems with QR codes after this talk. But now we know. Well, now we know how to destroy a QR code. If there's no pixel, you're in for a bad time. Anyway, well, one more time. Let's clap for everything that just happened. There was a wild train of thought. And now, with all due respect, I announce that now it is time for pizza and a big break in which I encourage every single one of you to, if you have more questions about QR codes or micro front ends, please approach speakers and also other speakers that have not yet spoken. And I'll see you in 20 minutes from now at 2020. in this room. We're just gonna stare at them and judge them. Yeah.
No, no, it's fine.
Okay, you know what? My watch that runs on JavaScript already says it's 30 minutes, so we can start because my watch is not very accurate. Anyway, so for everyone who is here, please give a hand to Tomasz right here. Give a good applause. Yes. Hell yeah. Angular in 2025, which is, I hated Angular. I know. When I had to do some Angular work a while ago, and when I just opened up the files, I saw those like scary decorators. Everything has to be in TypeScript. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I just closed it. And this is how my Angular experience is. But later on, I think I attended a talk last year in Warsaw. It was another conference, and someone from the Angular team shared that there's so much cool stuff in Angular now. I literally was like, I'm gonna go back home and write an Angular app, and I'm actually super excited to see what's in there now. So please tell us. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, like you said, yeah, Angular is going through the amazing changes right now. Of course, at the end, we can end up that whole big discussion, what is better, Angular or React? Of course, Angular. But yeah, let's straight go to the topic, which is about Angular in 2025. Let's go fully full stack. But maybe from the beginning, I will also introduce myself. My name is Tomasz, and I am a senior front-end developer at the company 7N, but that will be the truth only for the tomorrow because I'm changing my company. I have 10 years of experience. I'm a speaker, also a mentor and a teacher. You can find me over the internet at my hashtag TomWebWalker. Short story about that nickname is that I totally love Star Wars. So if you also love them, then please just join me. And the nickname is just Tom Walker instead of Skywalker. So that's it. And yeah, the most crucial role for me through my, let's say, life is being a father of two and a husband of one. So please just clap for my son, young daughter Michalina, and my wife Martina. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, but enough about me. Let's straight go to the topic. So first of all, I will introduce to you what is actually about the server-side rendering and about being of the full stack approach in the Angular. So first of all, we have a term called SSR, which stands for server-side rendering, which means renders each page on the server side, so the request returns the initial HTML code. And to be a bit more precise, let's start actually from the flow. So whenever we as a user, as a browser, as a client, whenever we visit the request, the page, we are initiating the request, right? So we are asking the server, the endpoint, some address over the internet, give us the page. And the new thing about the Angular is the thing that we have right now, the Angular server. Tiny disclaimer at the end of the presentation, or I will also do some kind of a tiny code session. But behind the scenes, whenever we visit that URL, Angular server does actually three things. And the reason that I highlighted those three things as a blue color, because it means that it is triggered at the same time. So we don't have to wait for each of them, but everything is just doing at the same time. So what we could do, we are fetching the data from, let's say, the external APIs, for example, or directly from the database. And what I mean that since we are using the Angular server, we are just stored, let's say, on some cloud or something like that, or our VPS, or just a server or remote. We can ask a database. So we can initiate the request, the connection to the database, fetch the data, and so on. So that is also a cool, nice thing that we, for example, don't have to utilize some external providers, right? Second thing, of course, since we are talking about the front-end framework, we are, of course, rendering the HTML. And other than that, most crucial thing that we were missing for a lot of time, it was about the injecting SEO. So it stands for all of those positioning, all of those things for indexing the pages. That, for example, we are providing the tags, we are providing title, and so on, so on. So everything is just also with the response. And then we are sending the rendered HTML to the browser. So we just have the received structure of the HTML. And then we also are, let's say, starting the hydration. What the hydration is, in short, is the fact that our HTML, the HTML that we are receiving is, let's say, not alive. We cannot do anything. And then Angular detects, okay, what are you going to do? And then hydrate, so attaches the events, the whole logic to the views and so on. So for example, whenever we click the button, something is happening. So that's in short about the hydration. Second bit more similar feature and term about the creation of the views is the SSG. So it stands for server-side generation. So fetches previewed pages for each request, and then pages are represented as individual files on the server generated beforehand. And that beforehand is very crucial. And why? Because in the SSG, as you can see, it is, let's say, a bit more similar to the previous SSR. But in this scenario, the particular praise and the particular difference is on the Angular server that beforehand, ahead of time, whenever we build our application, our front-end code, and we are deploying that, for example, to the remote, then whenever we configure that, then particular pages are just generated ahead of time. So in short, they are just stored on the server as a separate dedicated files per each URL page, per each route on our remote. And then we can just ask the server, and then instead of just rendering on the backend side, on the server side, let's say, they are just there. So we are receiving them from the response, and then everything is as the same. So HTML just generates, renders to the browser, and then we are also having the hydration. And the last, let's say, approach for the rendering of our views is so-called client-side rendering, in short CSR. And this way of creating the views, rendering the views, was used by the Angular, is used by the Angular for the most of the times. And why? Because we are fetching for the request, so user just triggers some kind of an endpoint, some kind of the URL, then the Angular client starts rendering, and that is crucial, that instead of having our, let's say, generation at the server side, we are just doing that on the client side. And what it means that, as you can remember from the previous slide, that we were doing, for example, fetching the data from the API by the server on the server side. We have to do it on the, let's say, front-end side. Of course, we must implement that as well on the back-end side. We have to also do that, secure that, and so on. We cannot introduce the database calls on the client side just to be secured and so on. So that is the one thing. And also, since we are fetching the data from the remote, we also have to display some kind of a loading indicator. And The reason that I added those two red arrows is the fact that it could take some time. So we are just first of all rendering the page, then we are making some kind of a HTTP call to the remote, and then we are waiting for the data and so on, so on. And it could take time. And imagine that we could do plenty of requests for the, let's say, for the same view, right? And then, of course, at the end, we are rendering everything, just putting to the particular place in HTML, in our view. And then the view is, let's say, ready. And about the architecture and actually what is changed in the Angular and how it works, let me just maybe create a project really quickly. So what is new? I'm just switching to my local terminal, and I will just utilize the npx. So it is just from the Node.js, the tool just to utilize some external packages. Since we are on the WarsawJS, I suppose you are familiar with that. And then I will just type Angular, then /CLI, and then latest. And that means that I will use the latest version of the Angular, which is the version 20, and then new, and then my best app. So that will be used for the name of my application. And how you hit enter. Yes, I want to proceed, of course, with that. And let's just allow Angular to do its own things. And yeah, that first question is actually something really, really new. It is about the zoneless approach. For the purposes of this application, for this demo, I will just say yes, but I won't dive deep into that topic. That is also doesn't matter because we are not talking about the stylings right now. But this last question is the most important. Do you want to enable server-side rendering and static site generation? And right now, of course, I will hit yes. So that the question is something also, let's say, partially new if you are talking about the Angular, because it was introduced with the version, as far as I remember, version 19. So it means that the application will be also stored on the server side generated, let's say. But yeah, let's just skip that those packages, because before I just created a project. So in this project, I will show you two things actually. So first of all, that is the root of my application. And right now, what is the most crucial thing? I just used the same command as just I showed you in the terminal. So I just created that application. And the CLI also produced for me the server.ts file, the TypeScript file. And to be frank, it's not something really fancy, because it is behind the scenes. It is an Node.js Express application server. But what is actually new over here is this guy, is this implementation. So whenever we asking for some of the routes, some of the requests, then we are just receiving also, Angular is handling those requests and then treat it individually in a dedicated way. But how to configure that? There is also another new file, which is called app_route_server.ts. Of course, like I said, everything is generated by the CLI. And over here, there is an example of the routes that how we can configure that. So normally, previously in the previous regular, let's say, Angular application, we just had this guy over here, this file, which is just for the routing mechanism. And as you can see, I have empty path, I have a news, I have employees, and also FAQ for some kind of a question and answers. And as you can see, we have those three over there. And we have similar, maybe different order, doesn't matter, but we are also having that that configuration for the routes. And as you can see, the client is just like I showed to you that last slide. It is for the CSR, so for the client side generation. pre-rendered, so it is for the SSR. So we are just asking for the view. Server is just creating that and returning to us with the HTML and the file. And this, the server. So it means that it is SSG, right? So the view is just generated beforehand, and then we are just asking for some set of HTML, for example. And just to show to you how it actually works and what is the difference, I will just run the project via ngserve. Okay, it's now running. So let me just also try to open that as well. Where is my browser here? So yeah, it's a really tiny, simple application with some just few views. And maybe just to refresh the page once again. So yeah, what is actually important over here? Maybe I will start from the view that was generated at the server side in terms of the SSG. So just pay also attention to what is going on actually on that on the network side. So you just open the view, and actually there is nothing because the SSG, the view was generated beforehand. Right now, what is also important that I'm opening the news, and we have the request because we asked the endpoint, the backend, the server, Angular server for that particular view. And as a disclaimer, or maybe just to remind you, that news was created by that SSG approach, right? So it is just generated beforehand. It is generated whenever we ask for it. So that is the view, and also the last view, which is for the employees. And the employees will be generated at the client side. So as you can see, we have just also the request for the employees. And whenever we switch that, nothing is going on right now because also the request is stored, on the client side. Stored in terms of that we have the same session. So whenever I will hit the refresh button, of course, there will be the requests. But the change is also over there that, as you can see, I visited the route, the view, which is generated on the fly, on the server side, right? So the difference is that right now, there is nothing on the network side, right? So whenever I, once again, just to show it to you that there is nothing. But whenever I visit the employees, there is a request because I just generated the view on the client side. And the second important thing also is that if you are talking about the positioning that I mentioned a few minutes ago, that whenever I will open the source of the page, as you can see, it is totally not something SEO friendly, right? So any of the robots that will visit our page and will detect that route, that employees route, will be, let's say, disappointed because they will just see that and it won't be positioned. But if I would visit, for example, the news and show you the source of the view, as you can see, we have something. Of course, for us as a human, it's totally not readable, but you can believe me that over there in that HTML line, there is everything what is actually also visible here. So whenever the bots, the indexing mechanism will visit our route, they will see that that page, and they can easily read everything from that code, from the HTML part. So those two files actually are the most important ones. So as a reminder, the new thing is that Angular also handles the request, so we can also render the views, and that is the way that we are configuring, right? So we can set it to client, we can set it to pre-render, or just set it to the as a pre-render. Of course, you can also have to keep in mind that it is not so, let's say, easy peasy to tackle that, because also keep in mind that whenever we are, for example, working on that, especially some kind of a session, right? That we are keeping something on the local storage, then we have to treat it separately because, for example, some kind of a data can't be stored on the local storage, but server, of course, doesn't know anything about the local storage because it is not a client, right? So we have to also keep in mind that, and it could also introduce some kind of a complexity. So also we need to keep in mind that. So every, let's say, aspect of that, we have to treat it separately. So yeah, that was the application. So once again, the most important thing is over there that whenever we visit the page, as you can see, there is no request for that server-side generation part. But whenever we visit the employees, and also you could saw for a while the loading indicator, right? So whenever maybe I will visit that once again, if I'm lucky, and if the network will be slow enough. I hope it won't broke because I'm also sharing my session for the stream purposes. But yeah, good catch. Let's see what will happen. SG. Whoa, I even forgot about SG network speed. It could be a bit slow. Loading employees right now. Yeah, good catch. And yeah, whenever I will visit the news, there shouldn't be any loading indicator, right? But it was just loading the view in general. So yeah, definitely a really good catch. But let me just make the internet speed once again. So yeah, about that was it. Of course, I will share my presentation on the LinkedIn, so you can definitely find it. And if you're also looking for the presentation for my LinkedIn account, you can also visit that. And yeah, that was actually it. So thank you. If you have any questions, yeah, please go ahead. I also really love to mention somehow other presentations at the same talk. So of course, please keep in mind watering and the QR code. So yeah.
Hey, so thank you for presentation. I have a question about the hydration process. Yeah, because initially when it was introduced in React, for example, there was a problem that when we made hydration on server, we load the HTML in the browser, but we need to make it interactive. Yes, so we need to build a virtual DOM again and etc. So there was a lag between we load the HTML and until it starts to be interactive. It was fixed with different approach, different framework, and etc. What my question, how it works right now in Angular and how this issue was fixed there.
Actually, it's a bit more deeper topic because also with the new version of the Angular, shortly speaking, the Angular team also introduced the so-called new control flow, right? And it also contains the feature called defer. And that defer could be configured in many different ways. That, for example, whenever our button, let's say, is visible, I mean, it is on the viewport, then the hydration is also attached, or whenever the user will click something, then the hydration is also attached, and then everything is pulled to the same place. So definitely it is that. But as also some kind of a disclaimer, the Angular is going through the really huge, let's say, some kind of a renovation, right? So right now it is done by that defer approach, and yeah, definitely you could try it, that defer block. Maybe even I can try to really quickly show it to you, at least from the so yeah, so I'm talking about this this implementation. So it could be configured that whenever it is visible, then the hydration is attached, shortly speaking. But like I said, it is a bit more deeper topic, just to explain.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the talk. I was curious because I'm a fan of Next.js, and we have this thing that is called incremental static regeneration. And I was wondering if you also have it in Angular.
Incremental static generation.
Yeah, I can explain it if you want. Like, it's pretty similar to SSG. So if you want the page to be generated during the build time ahead, but you still want it to revalidate after some interval.
Actually, this way also could be configured by the defer block, because it also can be configured in the way that which components are imported in particular scenarios, right? So whenever, because I mentioned about that hydration, but it is also used for the loading of the components, right? Like even you can see in this example, large components, so we can configure when not just the hydration, but also when the component will be loaded, I mean imported to our view.
Okay, thanks.
I think I saw, Kasper, you had a question.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So
There's
any
another
more?
one?
Oh, there's one. Okay.
What about the other servers support, like for example, BAN? Do Angular plan to integrate BAN support or only Node.js? How it looks on the server side with all these polyfills and everything? Do you encounter any problems?
In terms of the ban, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if it is covered by the Angular that we can easily use that. I definitely heard about the White, but about the ban, to be honest, I'm not sure if there are plans to use it, but maybe there are. Like I said, Angular is going through the amazing changes that are just done in a really speed and fast way. So right now, I suppose there are no plans, but what the team will invite, we'll see.
Okay, lovely. Well, if you remember, Bun's promise is to be 100% compatible with Node.js. So maybe if they kept their promise, it would be no problem and there will be no questions at all. Can it run on Bun? Of course it can. If it runs on Node.js, it runs on Bun. But it doesn't because it's different. Well, thank you so much.
Yay!
And now we have our next speaker coming up. So that you're taking away their laptop, right?
Yes,
That's yours. Of course, take
I'm
it.
not stealing it. I hope.
Yeah, you can leave it if you want to. We can have another laptop. That's off you go. All right.
Sorry, water.
And please welcome to the stage, Krzysztof Moszyński. Moszyński. That's correct. Yes. Yeah, I'm trying my best. I'm trying to improve my Polish. Okay. Well.
Już tylko się...
Oh, good. Well, we have a QR code to no QR codes, less QR codes. Can you actually? Did anyone learn how to just read QR codes on site from the talk? Imagine there's a person who can do that. I think there is somewhere. If you are in the room, please raise your hand. And
they're just too humble to admit it.
Well, with that in mind, the stage is yours, I suppose, unless, the slides are coming.
I will need slides, and after that, I'm all yours.
There you go. Let's unlock our freedom and power. Okay. Once again, a short round of applause.
Okay, I see it here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Okay, thank you. So, hello everyone. And my presentation just disappeared. However, it's probably going to reappear. My name is Krzysztof Moszyński. I'm an ex-Fang software developer and currently a full-time holistic life coach. And the topic of today's presentation is self-knowledge, unlocking your freedom and power. So we will be talking about knowing yourself. Know thyself. It is one of the very old philosophical messages. And first, maybe a question to you. Okay. Does this work? I want to change the slide. Okay. Okay. Okay, first a question. Which of you has visited my presentation on the sphere of influence? Hands up. Okay, there was one person, probably 2 people, 3 people, okay, several people, okay. So the next question, which of you thinks they have high level of self-knowledge, self-awareness? Which of you thinks that they know themselves, that you know themselves, you know yourselves? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay, there are several people. So today we'll be dealing with, yes, nice. Today we'll be dealing with this very center of the sphere of influence. Self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is the most powerful knowledge there is because it's the most actionable knowledge there is. It's you are in control. When you get to know yourself better, it always increases your power. It always increases your ability to affect your life. Unlike these other things, well, you know, some of them, they are often outside of your control. Okay, so there is this simple idea that we can perceive what is outside of ourselves. We can only perceive what we don't identify with. There is this term called object and subject. There is object and subject of cognition. And as long as all of these things are just a subject of cognition, as long as they are not objectified, we can't not perceive them. They are just something that works within us, and we are unable to perceive, control it. They have power over us. And in other words, we can say that what we identify with, we can't notice, so it affects us. So for example, someone gives you a weird look, and if you have some beliefs of insecurity, it can trigger a thought, I am inferior to others. It can trigger a reaction of sadness, self-doubt, these feelings in your body. And usually, like if you don't train it, if you don't objectify it, if you identify with all of this, if it just works within you, you won't notice it. You will have zero awareness of it, and it will control your life. So this means that you will be like an IO human. I call it IO human. So this is the type of a person who is triggered by various environment stimuli. And when they are triggered, they react automatically. And they don't know what they are doing. They don't know what is within them. They don't know their biases, their feelings, their thoughts. So they are just controlled. They are like puppets. And many people are like that. Or we can also think about the NPC meme. So people who are very strongly identifying with certain beliefs. This is the NPC. And when they face with some perspective that conflicts with this belief, even if it's in good faith, even if it's innocent, just someone throws some thought, they get triggered because they identify so strongly with this belief. They perceive it as part of themselves, which is why they feel attacked, and their reaction is anger. So, in other words, if we flip it, then what we disidentify with, what we objectify, we can notice and reflect on. So here we have someone giving us a weird look. However, if we disidentify with the mind, then we can notice that our mind is not ourselves. It's just something that we have. And so is the thought, I am inferior to others. It's just a thought of our mind. It's not us, it's just something that arises in the mind. And then we can reflect on this. We can question it. And this creates the beginning of freedom. This is the most fundamental aspect of freedom, inner freedom. And this also works for shaping our patterns of behavior, our habits. So we have some temptation, and if we notice this temptation, then we can choose not to succumb to the temptation. We can choose to react in a different way. And also this works for body sensations, for like pain. We can deal with pain more easily, and we can choose what to do with it instead of getting overwhelmed with it. It also works similarly for feelings, such as sadness. And we can notice this, we can take care of it. So this makes it so that instead of puppets, instead of people who are controlled by the environment, we can choose how we act. We are the captain. We are not our mind. We are not our mind's slaves. We are not slaves to our programming. And this creates several very positive, very fun effects. One thing is, of course, power over ourselves, over the direction of our growth. Instead of just being under negative self-talk all the time, as we perhaps used to be, we can have more constructive approach. We can choose to work on ourselves with acceptance in mind. However, at the same time, we can also notice and appreciate the positive aspects of ourselves and the positive aspects of our life experience. We can notice and appreciate it fully, and this creates great joy in our lives. This is the source of the most robust happiness there is, the happiness just from being ourselves, as we accept ourselves and we notice who we are, and we are just okay with it. We grow, and at the same time, we accept ourselves. So now the question, how to increase self-knowledge, and which of you already practices at least one of these things regularly? Hands up, okay. That's pretty good, I seriously think at least one of these is useful for like 100% of the population, probably. So let's start from meditation. This is a practice of noticing what happens within us, what happens around us, noticing our experience, just paying attention, just paying close attention to the present moment and what arises, what feelings, sensations, thoughts arise. And very experienced meditators can really be aware of a great number of thoughts, great number of sensations and feelings, and they can very deeply understand themselves and how they are working in the moment. And I am, of course, not at that level yet, but there are people who are, and it's something that's very empowering. Even some basic degree of awareness is very, very useful and gives a great degree of freedom. Then we have journaling. Journaling is like systematizing the knowledge that we gain through meditation. It's often written, it's often writing and putting in order this stuff, and we learn about ourselves, and this creates this accumulation of self-knowledge, and it's very, very useful as well. Then we have therapy, which we could say this basically like journaling. However, it's assisted by another person. It's supported by a person who helps us understand ourselves, who helps us often reprogram ourselves into a healthier version of ourselves, reprogram our mind, reprogram our old non-serving beliefs. And this is the most useful for people who have some mental disorders, especially heavier more significant mental disorders. And then the last practice is that I will recommend here, because of course there are many more, these are just the basics, is coaching. And this is something that I practice. And it is in a way similar to therapy. It is a cooperative process between the client and the coach, in which, however, it's more practical, it's more pragmatic, it's more action-oriented, it's more for people who are already relatively mentally healthy, who don't have very big mental disorders, but just want to push their lives a little more. And coaching, of course, can support you in various endeavors. It can help you understand yourselves, of course, and your beliefs and your mechanisms, your habits, gain awareness. However, it can also help you more practically, learn to do something more efficiently. So I hope this presentation, if it didn't make you more aware, it at least gave you some tools to be more aware. And how much time do we have still? Is there time for... no, there is... Okay, not too much time, okay. So we won't be making a long exercise. However, if you want to, you can just feel your body against the chair. You can feel your feet on the floor. You can feel the clothes as they are on your body, and just feel all the sensations of your body, all the feelings, everything there is in the present moment. That this is the most basic form of meditation. Thank you very much. Feel free to, okay, I can see that this is a bit, feel free to connect to my coaching practice. I offer coaching sessions and questions. Piotr.
I have a question that was obviously I was also asked this question, and I know that this is one of the most important questions that is asked to coaches, to therapists, to people who care about spirituality and maybe meditation, all the practices you mentioned. Basically, they say something like this. So, first of all, there are bad results in the scientific record, and the second of all, we think that it's basically something that we call spiritual bypassing and ego boosting. So spiritual bypassing is that you create a narrative in which you're getting better, you believe in it, and you find ways to support your that this is actually happening, that you're feeling better, that everything is better. However, it's a change of narrative, but the facts stay the same. So people say, hey, come on, therapy, coaching do not help, because basically you only change your narrative, your understanding of what is happening. However, all the symptoms, all your difficulties, which are physical, stay the same. However, you feel better because you call them differently. What do you usually respond to this kind of arguments?
Actually, I have only recently learned about the spiritual bypassing from my mentor and my coach, Rob Duffy. And I have learned about the term, but because I did know the phenomenon. And spiritual bypassing is a phenomenon in which one chooses to adopt certain narratives as a defense mechanism that help them avoid having to face some issue, some problem in themselves, having to face and work on something concrete. So, for example, if I suffer, if I have some suffering in my life, instead of facing this suffering and thinking, well, maybe I'm making some mistakes. What can I do to alleviate this unneeded suffering because there is some symptom of some deeper problem? I can just say, oh, it's my karma. I was meant to suffer. it's my spiritual path. I need to suffer to grow spiritually. This is just, and so this is spiritual bypassing. So this is actually an antithesis of proper self-improvement, antithesis of growth, of coaching, therapy. However, it is a defense mechanism for a reason, because it helps us temporarily cope with overwhelming trauma, overwhelming experiences. So if someone lost their loved ones, if someone is facing some terrible pain, terrible experience, this change of narrative, this change of look in a way that is more comforting can help them survive through this time. However, it's not a good long-term strategy. It's not a good long-term strategy. Long-term, you do want to be working on the concrete issues. And I'm one of the coaches that is like, I really don't like, let's call it BS. I really don't like all of the BS that is there in both coaching and therapy and various self-improvement circles that doesn't work, that presents you some frameworks that you delve into that are autistic, that don't really help you, some that presents some things that are just other narratives to get lost in. I prefer to focus on the issue at hand, on the practical issues and their practical solutions. So I think that when you delve into self-improvement, into building self-knowledge, it is very important to understand that there are a lot of charlatans and to understand how to discern them from people who can actually help you grow and who are actually supporting you in your growth. And so you can take responsibility for your results. Any other questions?
No questions? Well, that's that.
There was one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's always lovely to see you and hear you. You always look so sharp. So
thank you. Your style today is also very harmonious and very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. I just found out that someone here in this very room is wearing a hoodie made of the same material as my pants, which is kind of funny, but I don't know why I told you about this. But anyway, are we back to our slides on WarsawJS? We are not, but yeah, maybe what if there you go. I am the engineer and I can do that. Yes, I made it. I did it myself. Now, I have two depths to settle with the audience. One is, please scan this QR code. This is not like an obligation to speak, so you don't have to just scan this. There's a really short survey, so you can help us be better and improve meetups over time. If you have had fun here, just let us know. If you didn't, let us know as well. Anyway, and the second thing, order of matter, is we have all of our speakers here, I think. We did not distribute any JetBrains licenses, which I completely forgot about. And do you still remember your favorite question? Don't feel bad. You do remember it.
Yeah, I think it was the one about versioning. What do we use for versioning, and what's the complexity under it? It came from that area.
Do we have the person? Okay. You come to who's distributing the licenses? Piotr, is it you? Okay, no one knows anything in this organization. What? It's not possible. All right, just approach the guy in a hat and we'll figure it out. Now, Kacper, where are you? Are you still here? Are you still with us? Okay, well, all right. And Tomasz is here. What was your favorite question? Hydration. Okay, do we have the hydration person here? There you go. You receive a JetBrains license, and I guess Piotr received the JetBrains license is the only question. But all right, maybe we'll see. We'll talk to Kacper later, and we'll reach out if you ask the question, well, what was the most popular question on the Q? I think it was yours, right? On the Cutsper's QR code. Nah, you get the JetBrains license as well. Right. Wow. Whew, now that's settled. Yeah. We have more speakers for Meetup 128. We have things about hoisting. Oh, dude, that is so cool. I've never seen this before. Anyway, Blazor WebAssembly. No Vercel. No, I like this. Okay, this is a really nice lineup. And I mean, the topics are really cool. So the next one is going to be July, the 9th of July. And yeah, so if you scan this QR code, I'm going to get out of the way. Hopefully, we'll not have problems with QR codes anymore, ever. And all of you will just look at the QR code and scan it in your head. So this is for the next meetup. It's a nice sort of super early bird discount, as usual. And if you're done with that or you want more, as usual, this is the yearly pass, which I recommend because I always forget to buy tickets myself. And if you have the money and the desire to support us and make it easier for us to plan our budget ahead, you can scan this and just never think about tickets for a whole year. And with that in mind, I think this is the last slide. So yes, thank you everyone for coming. And clap for yourself, everyone. And see you next time. And you have, what is it, until 10? What? Oh yeah, everyone on stage, let's take a picture. And we have a time until 10 to just hang out and ask questions, unasked questions to the speakers and other people.